Hey everyone, welcome to my repurposed backyard garden. I consider myself in the beginning stages really of homesteading. We just live in a suburban house in a suburban neighborhood with a regular backyard, no land to speak of, just a regular lot. And we've had a garden 3 years. We're learning how to can, how to dehydrate, how to store some things. We've made trial and error decisions and tried to figure out what's best for us, and this is what we've come up with so far. I am going to just share tips and tricks, things I use. I use a bright colored vinyl plastic folder because I take this outside with me. And if it starts raining and I run in the house, I forget it, I can at least see it because it's pink, and I can hopefully protect it from anything going on. And we won't talk about the times I've left things outside overnight. I try, I really do, but it's a really neat folder. It's a Stay Put tab 2-pocket folder from Mead, and it has when you open it, it just has this that kind of holds your paper down, and pockets, and then this is a little extra pocket. It'd be great for seeds. If I'm just going to plant out root crops, I can just put my few root crop seed packs in there and go. I do have, since we're in the dead of winter, and it's just now getting time to start making seedlings, I did make a, this is quad paper, 4x4, 4 squares, square is an inch, and this is my garden, and it's each square is a foot, and I just draw the outline of my garden, and this is a walkway. It's 25 by 25 total, but it's not all plant space. We have these 4 feet wide, and then we have like a 3 foot wide walkway to get around, and then we've planted C-shaped in the middle that's basically 4 feet, and a little walkway here to get in, and the walkway to get in the garden. We can get our wheelbarrow in there. I'm going to put this in a plastic protector, sleeve protector, sheet protector sleeve, and that way I can write on it with my little Ultra 3N Sharpie markers and determine what plants need to go where. Because I try to stick with the don't plant anything in the same place twice in a row. It does seem to help because I think we all know every plant has its own bugs. And if they have to work a little harder to find what they were eating on last year, all the better. And I do try to stay organic as much as possible. I have caved in and used a product once or twice because I was going to lose everything if I didn't. Nothing else was working. I didn't keep up with things. I do use neem oil. That is my organic solution to deter in the beginning, and if you stay on it, that neem oil really does work. You put it in a certain, it comes in like a little dropper bottle, and you put a dropper full or 2 of the neem oil in a spray bottle, and you fill it up with warm water, and then you put a good squeeze of Blue Dawn dish detergent. And if you take that and shake it up and take it out and spray, it will absolutely, it works with squash or stink bugs, cucumber beetles, cucumber worms, the hornworms, the tomato worms that can come in and eat a whole tomato plant in practically a day and devour everything. It works with those. But the trick is you got to get out there and you got to use it liberally and really stay on top of it and spray it in intervals so that it beats all that down. It has worked. It has worked good. And I've got some other things. And as we go on, I'll introduce you to some of the things that we use. But basically, we try to repurpose as much as we can. Use repurposed materials. My garden is a raised bed. And what we've done is we have access to heavy-duty pallets that carry really heavy things. It's not the little thin ones that just fall apart. They're heavy. And they're free. We've gone in and cut them in half, turned them to where the flat sides are down, and basically just put them together with scrap wood from other pallets and made an edge for our garden all the way around. And so it does help with pests that try to come into your garden. We do have 2 little dogs that do patrol the perimeters, and so that does help with like raccoons or possums, even chipmunks and rabbits and things. It does help if you have a little perimeter and the dogs can kind of see that something's moving around and not just sneak up, you know, behind some growth. It does help. So we've also taken our kids' trampoline, the safety net that goes around the top with a zipper net. That's the first thing to go every time. So when ours tore apart, we got to looking at it, and the poles that are basically an arch shape that hold the netting up, there's 3 of them, and they're about 6 or maybe between 6 and 8 feet long between the poles, and it's like this. We took them and unattached, took them off of the trampoline, put them out in the garden, and we're using them to put the nylon netting up for trellising peas or beans or cucumbers or just anything that climbs, and it has really served us well. Of course, they'll never, they look like they did the day we put them in the ground, so that's been a tremendous help and saved us a lot of money and trouble trying to figure out, because trellises, to me, they always wobble or they lean and get pulled over by the plants themselves, and so that's been a great repurpose for us. We basically, our whole backyard is repurposed from being just a regular backyard to being a garden. And our kids are teenagers now, and so they had one of those wooden fort type swing sets, and we've actually shored up the edges of where the swings go, took the slide off, took the swings off, put them up, and we've taken that and used the pallet materials to cut them down, and we shored up the sides, and we're actually using the swing set floor basically for different plants, and it's 6 by 8, and we throw things over the middle beam, or we use these swing set hooks, and we've used it for trellising things, and it's worked out for us. It really has. We do use landscaping fiber and or black plastic. It's a real weed problem out here. Just to let you know, I'm in plant hardiness zone 7B to 8A. We're just south of Memphis, and most of Tennessee is 7B, but right there where Memphis is, it goes into 8A. And so, you know, you kind of have to, when you're on the edge, you know, you kind of have to just take that into consideration. I love www.heirloomseeds.com. For all their seeds are heirloom, and you almost always have an organic choice. It is more expensive, but I'm going to bring you in close and show you where I used butcher paper and my handy dandy markers, and I made myself a rolling calendar of the growing season. Started December 31st, which was 12 weeks before my last frost. In my hardiness zone, my goal date is March 25th. My husband works full-time, sometimes more than full-time, and I'm homeschooling 2 teenagers and babysitting a grandchild, and so we know that we mostly get in the garden for big work days on Saturdays. And so I put my times on my calendar, and I'm going to bring you in closer and show you. Alright, I'm bringing you in closer for the look at my butcher paper scrolling calendar. And there you're seeing January, and I've got December 31st up here because that was the 12-week outside if you're going to do collards and kale in my area. That's when they needed to be planted. And here's today's video. This is my cold crops, and I've just written in the side, in the margins here, what I wanted to do. And then I went to February. If you'll watch this vine, it lets me know that on March 5th I need to set outside my seeds that were sown at 8 weeks before the last frost. And so that kind of helps me see at a glance where I'm at and what I'm doing. Alright, here we are at the beginning of the season. It's January 28th. It's chilly but sunny here in the Mid-South. And I was showing you the overview earlier of my garden that I use to determine what I'm going to plant where. The yard has not been cleaned up from all the stuff blown around all over the winter. But as you see here, this is the garden outside, 25 by 25. And then you see the walkway, which is just weeds right now. And then the middle C. And these are the trampoline poles I was telling you about that we net and use for trellising. There's some cages we haven't taken down from the peppers. We really enjoy. Here we have the compost pile I was telling you about, where we just stack the... Look at the dogs getting in there. Get out of there. We haven't closed it back up. But it's just 2 pallets wide, 1 pallet deep. And we have them sort of balancing on each other, and we work it as we add things to it. Here's a leftover pile. This is what I meant by the heavy duty pallets. This is before they're cut down. See how thick? And so those are the pallets halved and turned right side up to where they're flat on the bottom. And then our little puppy dogs are great for keeping things out of the garden, but they also hunt lizards and frogs. So we had to put this little flowering fencing up to keep them out of the garden, and it also helps keep other things. Gives them a little bit of a deterrent. Here's the swing set I was telling you about. It's excuse the planes, we live near an airport, but it's just been shored up around the edges. And as you see, we use the top beam or the swing hooks to put nylon cording up. Last year that was our cucumbers. This year it'll probably be peas or beans. Just something different. We have done the tomatoes in there. We have the plants that we normally keep outdoors. Our shop, it's kind of crowded in here now because of that. But here's our grow light. And right now we've got a tablecloth under the outdoor plants, but this is where I do my seedlings. I have 3 rows if I wanted to add lights, but this is an 8-foot shop light just hanging from the ceiling. Alright guys, I'm out here with my 72 cell seed starter thing, and I wanted to show you this. I get this at Walmart. It's a Jiffy natural and organic seed starting mix. It is sterile, if I'm not mistaken. And I've got the cells here. Now, what I'm doing, it's cold, forgive me if I'm shivering. I've got my little notebook. I've got the seeds that I know I'm going to plant right now. Here, they're open, so I'm glad for that little pouch. But things like Brussels sprouts, cauliflower, broccoli, they have they're happiest when they have a really tight soil to start in. So I take something, this just happens to be a rubber toy out here. Screwdriver head works. You really want to, get that packed for these particular seed startings. I don't know that Brussels sprouts last a long time. They can even, I'll probably have to do a second planting for a fall crop. So I'm probably, if I can get enough to use through the warm months, I'm just going to put 2 seeds in each. And I'll try to put them spaced a little bit from each other, not just right on top of each other. And I don't like them to get right up against the edge either, because it just seems like it doesn't do right. But Each row has 6. So I'm going to put out, I'm going to start 12. And that's Long Island improved Brussels sprouts. Posey, you cannot eat this. The dogs are so curious about what am I doing. And they're cold, they want to go in. I'm sorry, I know it's dim. I didn't prepare properly. We just walked in the house. And I'm about to run out of daylight, so I ran out here real fast. Alright, that's my bok choy, which I'm probably going to put it in a different thing. This is my Utah celery. And these seeds are so tiny that you can't, I can't usually determine how many seeds are rolling out. I can tell that some are dropping. I'm just going to do that row of the Utah celery. And I know that I did not get to these because I'm going to put them in something different. So I'll leave those over there. And I'll refile this when I get in the house. And now I'm just going to take and finish off, top off, I guess I should say, the cells. You see it's really dry. Normally I try to wet this before I do this, but like I said, I'm running out of time and it's cold. I didn't want to work with wet, cold dirt anyway.